Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. Now, I've addressed this before in videos about Glastonbury Festival and so forth, but I'm going to approach it in a different way today. Now, I was in the supermarket the other day and I went past the newspaper aisle, and staring back at me on the front page of nearly every newspaper was the band Oasis. They are reforming and doing some gigs, whatever. Then in my last video, someone commented that there was some form of propaganda in the media. They're going on and on about this Oasis thing, that there was a ridiculous amount of talk about it. So then I looked into it some more and found out how all of these news channels, Sky, BBC, even shows like This Morning, were doing segments about how to get tickets, how they were scarce, how Oasis were rock legends, and how all of these people were scrambling around trying to get these tickets, etc, etc, etc. The usual exaggerated hype that you will get from the false prophet, father of lies, media. But why? Why is the question? Why would a band get so much exposure and what appears to be free advertising from all of these news platforms? Why? Well, the answer is the same as usual, because it's just another example of the false prophet media influencing the masses into breaking a commandment. In this case, and many other cases, they are attempting to whip up people into a frenzy of fan worship. What is the term fan worship? Fan worship, it says here, allows individuals to feel connected to a larger community of fans who share similar interests and admiration for a particular celebrity. So let's just start by looking at the word fan. The word fan comes from the word fanatic. Fanatic, which is a person who is extremely enthusiastic about and devoted to some interest or activity. To me, you're a fan if you're willing to pay that much money for a ticket to go to these gigs. Now, more importantly, fanatic, the word fanatic, it originates from the Latin word fanum. F-A-N-U-M. The Latin word fanum means the site of an ancient Roman temple or sanctuary, a sacred place. So fanum means a sacred temple, which is a building for religious worship. So the word fan originally comes from Latin word fanum, which means religious worship, a place, a temple, where fans can congregate to worship. Hence why you get phrases like fan worship. And if you look into it, it's also connected to fan, as in a device that creates an air current, and that comes from the concept of spiritually arousing people, inspiring people, breathing spirit into people. It's all based around religious worship. So they are telling people straight to your face what it is when they call you a fan. And they get all of those fans together to congregate in one place to engage in fan worship. That's what's going on, basically. And these big gigs, and we're talking about especially the big famous bands and names that have loads of fans who fanatically worship them. I mean, here's a clip of AC/DC in Dublin from a couple of weeks ago. I mean, look how many people are there. It cost them £160 per ticket. Are you crazy? £160 per ticket? And many of the people who went to this would say, well, yeah, it's expensive, yeah, it is, but hey, it's AC/DC. They are rock royalty. This might be my last chance to see them. Last chance to see those rock legends up on stage who are up on a pedestal, raised above me. These guys are legends. They are rock gods, they might say, right? Of course, in the commandments we are told, you shall have no gods before me. You shall not make any idols to worship. Scripture advises against worshipping false idols, as by doing so, you're going to become lost. If we look at the commandments and Scripture, right, it's there as a guide for you to avoid the pitfalls of this world. And there's many pitfalls you're told you should actively avoid and participating in, and one is the worship of anything other than God. This is called idolatry, which is extreme admiration, love, or reverence for something or someone. That is what a fanatic or a fan does. They extremely admire and have reverence for these people, and they show it by them willing to pay so much money to go and see them up on a stage. The worship of idols. I mean, what's an idol? An idol is a person or thing that is greatly admired, right? So look, here's the thing, right? Some people will go to extremes when they talk about this. I'm not going to go to extremes. There's nothing wrong with enjoying art, right? It is absolutely fine to listen to a song and go, that's a great song. It's fine to listen to, say, I don't know, AC/DC Back in Black and say, that's a great riff. Or you could say, you know, I love listening to the songs of ABBA. I like their music. You could say that. You could go and see a band and watch them perform live. And it's not going to necessarily be idol worship, you know, but once you start paying large amounts of money to go and see these hugely promoted so-called rock legends, then things get a little bit blurry. Let me explain it this way. I haven't really heard anyone explain it like this. See if this makes sense, all right? When you listen to music and you enjoy it, that's fine. You're meant to enjoy it. It's a gift from God. Music is a gift from God. Really good music or a beautiful painting can be something inspiring. It can lift you up. But the issue is do you understand where that music comes from? Do you understand that melody, whether it's a heavy riff or a melodic chorus, do you understand, can you believe that these things all originate from God? If music uplifts you and you enjoy it, it's because God made it so. If a musician, talented and writes songs, do you understand that music is a gift from God? And the praise for that music should be towards God, not towards the artist. When the artist laps up all the praise, what they really should be doing is redirecting that praise to God. Right? Music is one of the most influential things in modern culture. And in scripture, we can see that music is interlinked with worship. The problem is that the fans, the audience, I believe the majority of them at gigs like these that are heavily revolved around the cult of personality and celebrity, they don't acknowledge that the music comes from God. They believe that it comes from the artist alone. That is why they might call that particular artist a legend, or believe they are special, a rock god. They believe that it is them alone that is responsible for that song or music that they like. And therefore, they put them up on a pedestal. They put pictures of them up on the wall. Some really obsessed fans might have a room dedicated to their collection or stuff or whatever. One thing I've noticed also is that many fans think that a band or a singer and their music, they will claim that it got them through a hard time in their life. I've seen many people online say things like this. They will genuinely believe that listening to a song genuinely saved them in times when no one else could. And then this emotional attachment makes them even more so a die-hard fan. Look, there's only one that can save you, right? And all of this is false idol worship because you're not acknowledging that the music is a gift from God. You're not acknowledging that the artist is merely a vessel for it to come through to you. And when you're heaping praise on the artist, you're worshipping and praising the wrong person. And by doing that, you're replacing God with the artist and therefore raising them up on a pedestal, up on a stage. You look up to them, you become a fan, and that's fan worship. And unfortunately, in most cases, the artists themselves don't acknowledge that their music is a gift from God. They want all the praise themselves. Their ego loves it. If an artist turns around and says that all praise for the music I've made, it goes to God, it comes from God, that's one thing. But most won't say this. I think I remember seeing once Prince say in an interview that all his music was a gift from God. I'm not 100% sure what God he was talking about, but I can't think of anyone else famous saying something like that. But the point is These massive gigs are built around star power and prestige, yeah? If it was just about the music, why are you paying so much money for the gig when you can just listen to the music at home? It's not. It's more so about being there. It's more so about being in attendance. It's more so about being in close vicinity to the so-called rock god or rock legend. A fan wants to say, I was there. A fan sees the attendance of the gig as prestigious. Yeah, tickets become a badge of honor for the devoted fan who wants that level of exclusive access to their idols. Yeah, it's idol worship. If you don't acknowledge that all music comes from God and that the artist is merely a vessel, then it's idol worship. There shouldn't be this cult of personality. If you're in the crowd whooping and hollering and getting excited because this so-called rock legend has just appeared on stage, you're engaging in idol worship because your actions show that you still believe that that person up on the stage is special, is better than you, is bigger than you, has something that you don't have. They don't. They're no different to you. If you're whooping and hollering and raining praise upon them, it must be that you believe that they are the sole creator of their music, and you're refusing to acknowledge that it comes from God. So you're heaping praise on someone or something that originally comes from God without acknowledging God. That is idol worship. And with all of these, cases with these big names, these big bands, they've just been promoted extensively by the false prophet media, the father of lies. You look at all the hype around these big concerts like Oasis or Taylor Swift, and the constant news stories giving them free publicity. It's not about money. It's not even about them as individuals. I don't believe that there is some kind of deal between them. It's all about the false prophet media, the second beast of Revelation, doing what it does every day. It's just another example of leading the masses into breaking a commandment. This is just one example of thousands of different ways it does this. And in this case, it's influencing the masses to engage in false idol worship, which is worshipping somebody or someone instead of worshipping God. Okay, as always, thanks for listening. Thank you for your support. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.